The feed glitched, a child's laugh echoing, then silence. Another creator vanished, just like that. They say the camera doesn't lie, but what if it captures a predator's gaze just before the light goes out? How much is a like worth when it costs everything? The digital world was a glittering, perilous playground, and 10-year-old Lily Chen was its undisputed queen. With a cascade of raven hair, eyes like polished obsidian, and a smile that could charm the algorithms into submission, she commanded a TikTok empire of 20 million followers. Her dance routines were precise, her comedic skits perfectly timed, and her vulnerability, though carefully curated, felt profoundly real. Her mother, Sarah, saw the numbers, the brand deals, the pathway to a life beyond their cramped suburban apartment. But sometimes, when Lily was lost in the glow of her ring light, Sarah felt a prickle of unease. It wasn't just the millions of eyes watching, it was the kind of eyes. Lily's 10th birthday had been a flurry of sponsored gifts and a live stream that crashed the app's servers for a solid 10 minutes. The next day, after a late-night filming session for a new dance challenge, Lily Chen vanished. Sarah woke to an unnerving silence. Lily's room, usually a cacophony of gentle snores or early morning giggles, was still. The bed was neatly made, a habit Lily had recently adopted, proud of her burgeoning independence. But the small, warm indentation where she should have been was cold. The window was latched from the inside. The front door double-locked. No signs of forced entry. Just an absence so profound it felt like a physical wound. The police initially were dismissive. A runaway. A publicity stunt. Kids her age, obsessed with social media, sometimes pulled these stunts. But Sarah knew Lily. Lily loved her life, loved her fans, loved the attention. She would never jeopardize it. Besides, the carefully composed video setup remained, the ring light still plugged in, its circular eye staring blankly into the room. Lily's phone, the portal to her entire world, lay charging on her nightstand. A final unposted draft of a dance video sitting in her drafts folder. It showed her, vibrant and joyful, mid-pirouette, her eyes sparkling with that unique digital luminescence. Detective Miles Corbin, a man whose face was etched with the weariness of 1,000 missing persons cases, took the report. He was skeptical of the online world, viewing it as a cesspool of performative narcissism. He saw Sarah, distraught and manic, waving printouts of fan comments, some supportive, some disturbingly possessive. "They love her, detective. They adore her. Why would anyone hurt her?" Corbin, a father of two, sighed. "Miss Chen, love on the internet is a very different beast from love in real life. It can turn ugly fast." The first few days were a blur of media frenzy. News channels plastered Lily's smiling face across every screen. Her followers, now reaching 25 million in the wake of her disappearance, flooded TikTok with "Find Lily Chen." Theories abounded. A jealous competitor, a disgruntled fan, a professional kidnapper. But as days bled into a week, then two, the tips dried up, the leads went cold, and the initial surge of public sympathy began to wane, replaced by morbid speculation and cynical whispers about her mother's role. Sarah, however, refused to give up. She felt a phantom tug, a digital thread connecting her to her daughter. She spent hours scrolling through Lily's comments, her DMs, her old live streams, looking for anything, any anomaly. The sheer volume was overwhelming. Millions of words, billions of pixels. It was like sifting through the digital ocean for a single drop of poison. One night, exhausted and tearful, she found it. Not in Lily's current feed, but in a video posted 6 months ago, a silly unboxing of a new toy. A comment buried deep among hundreds of thousands. Such a beautiful performance. You are truly destined for a grander stage. We will be watching. The username was a string of seemingly random characters. Axilo Phantom. Sarah dismissed it at first. Trolls were a dime a dozen. But something about the phrasing, the possessive "we will be watching," lingered like a bad taste. She clicked on the profile. No posts, no followers. Following 0, just a generic avatar, a ghost account. She tried to report it, but the platform's automated system deemed it non-violative. Sarah started tracking the username. She found it again on an older video of Lily's, one where she was showing off a new dress. This time, the comment was even more unsettling. "The framing is perfect. The light captures her essence. A true artist, unaware of her masterpiece." And then, a more recent one, from just a week before Lily vanished. "The crescendo approaches. The final act is nigh." The wording was theatrical, almost poetic, yet chilling in its implication. This wasn't a troll. This was someone who saw Lily's life as a performance, a narrative they were watching unfold, and the final act. Sarah felt a cold dread settle in her stomach. She presented her findings to Detective Corbin. He humored her, assigning a junior tech officer, Officer Davies, to look into the IP addresses associated with Auxilo Phantom. Days later, Davies reported back, "Clean. All bounced through multiple VPNs, encrypted proxies, untraceable." "So they're good," Sarah whispered, a new kind of fear blooming. This wasn't a random opportunist. This was someone organized, intelligent, someone who knew how to erase their digital footprint. Driven by a mother's desperate instinct, Sarah decided to dive deeper into the rabbit hole. She sought out online communities dedicated to missing child cases, specifically those involving child influencers. It was there, in a dimly lit corner of a forum, that she found a thread titled "The Vanishing Act." It chronicled the disappearances of other young social media stars. Marco, a 7-year-old YouTube gaming prodigy from Brazil. Anya, a 12-year-old dancer from Russia who dominated Instagram Reels. Kenji, an 8-year-old ASMR artist from Japan. All had achieved significant online fame. All had vanished without a trace, and all their cases had gone cold. What truly horrified Sarah was a recurring phrase in the forum discussions. They went to the collective. The collective. The name itself felt like a whisper in the dark. No one knew what it was, only that it was rumored to be behind the disappearances. A shadowy organization that collected these children. For what purpose, no one dared to fully speculate. Ransom was rarely demanded. Bodies were never found. Just an absolute, terrifying void. One of the forum members, an older woman named Eleanor, messaged Sarah privately. Eleanor's own granddaughter, Maya, a bubbly 6-year-old known for her elaborate cake decorating videos, had disappeared 2 years prior. "They don't want money, dear," Eleanor typed, her words shaking through the screen. "They want something else. They appreciate the artistry. They curate it." "Curate it?" Sarah typed back, her fingers trembling. "Like an art exhibit?" "Like a performance that never ends," Eleanor replied. "They call it the infinite stage." Eleanor, it turned out, was a former cybersecurity expert. After Maya's disappearance, she had dedicated her life to uncovering the truth. She had traced fragmented data, dark web forums, and encrypted messages. She believed the collective operated on a platform so deep within the internet that it was virtually undetectable by conventional means. A place where the children weren't just missing, but repurposed. "They don't abduct them physically, not in the traditional sense," Eleanor explained over a grainy video call. Her face, framed by wisps of white hair, was a roadmap of grief and determination. They lure them. They prime them. They manipulate their desire for fame, for connection. And then, when the moment is right, they offer them a new stage. "But how?" Sarah cried. "How do you lure a child through a computer screen and make them disappear from a locked house?" Eleanor leaned closer to her webcam, her voice dropping to a chilling whisper. "Not from a locked house, Sarah, from their own minds. They convince them to step through a digital doorway, to willingly embrace a new reality." This sounded like a mad woman's ramblings, but a cold knot of fear in Sarah's stomach told her there was a terrifying logic to it. Lily had always been so immersed in her digital world. What if that world had become a trap, a portal? Eleanor showed Sarah what she'd found. A series of seemingly innocuous video frames extracted from the final public videos of each missing child. Subliminal flashes, a symbol, like a stylized eye, barely perceptible, and a specific frequency of sound, just above the range of adult hearing but perfectly audible to children. It's a form of digital hypnotism, Eleanor explained. A trigger. They prime them over months, years. They build a rapport through subtle comments, private messages, even custom-made fan art that only the child sees. They make the child believe they are being recognized by a higher authority, a truly discerning audience far beyond their ordinary followers. Sarah felt a wave of nausea. Lily's new routine, the one she'd been so excited about just before she vanished, had been unusually complex, full of intricate, almost ritualistic movements. She'd told Sarah it was for a very special audience. Sarah had thought she meant her biggest fans. Now, a more sinister interpretation presented itself. Eleanor believed the collective didn't operate through brute force, but through psychological warfare. They studied their targets. They understood their deepest desires, for recognition, for adoration, for immortalized fame. They became the ultimate fans, the only ones who truly understood the child's art. Look for patterns, Eleanor urged. Any new phrases Lily started using? Any sudden obsessions? A new song? A game? They embed their triggers everywhere. Sarah delved back into Lily's digital footprint. She painstakingly reviewed every one of Lily's videos, every private message she could access, every comment on her posts. It was maddening, like trying to find a needle in a haystack that was constantly shifting. But Eleanor's words, subliminal flashes, stuck with her. She slowed down Lily's last unposted video, frame by frame, the one where Lily was mid-pirouette, full of joy. And there it was. For a single frame, a blink-and-you-miss-it flash in the background, a symbol. Not the eye Eleanor had shown her, but a swirling, almost fractal pattern, like a digital vortex. It was so fleeting, so expertly integrated, it looked like a camera artifact. But Sarah's gut screamed otherwise. And the sound. She ran the audio through a spectrograph program Eleanor had sent her. A faint, high-frequency hum, just at the edge of human hearing, pulsed beneath the upbeat music. It was designed to bypass parental notice, to speak directly to the young, developing ears of children. Sarah sent her findings to Eleanor, who confirmed her worst fears. That's their new signature, the vortex. And the hum, it's a carrier wave. They've updated their methods. Eleanor then gave Sarah a terrifying task, to create a digital lure of her own, to bait the collective, to find the portal, not to enter it, but to trace it. They monitor every mention of their chosen ones, Eleanor explained. They watch for anyone getting too close. We need to make them notice you. Sarah was hesitant. It felt like playing with fire, like risking her own sanity. But for Lily, she would walk through hell. She started by creating a new online identity, a seemingly obsessed fan. She compiled a series of videos, meticulously editing together old clips of Lily, slowing down the frames where the vortex symbol appeared, isolating the high-frequency hum. She added captions, hinting that she understood the true artistry behind Lily's work, that she saw the deeper meaning others missed. She spoke of Lily's destiny, using words and phrases eerily similar to those of Asilo Phantom. It felt repugnant, like desecrating Lily's memory. But within days, the ghost accounts began to stir. Likes from profiles with no history, anonymous DMs with cryptic messages. A discerning eye sees beyond the veil. The stage is not for all, but for the truly enlightened. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. They were watching her. They were testing her. One message, particularly unsettling, arrived from an account named The Stage Manager. It contained a link. "Join us. Witness the performance." Eleanor had warned her about this. Do not click the link on your main device. Use a disposable, isolated machine. It will be heavily compromised the moment you connect. And be prepared for what you might see, Sarah. It won't be easy. Armed with a cheap, wiped laptop, its internet connection routed through multiple layers of VPNs and proxies that Eleanor had configured, Sarah clicked the link. The screen flickered, then opened to a single stark white page. No flashy graphics, no advertisements, just a login prompt, user ID, password. "They'll have given you a temporary ID in one of their prior messages," Eleanor had said. "Look for it. It will be buried, encoded." Sarah scrolled through the anonymous DMs again, the ones from The Stage Manager. It was hidden in plain sight, a seemingly random string of characters embedded in the metadata of an image file attached to one of the messages. The password was a riddle, a phrase from one of Lily's old videos, subtly twisted. Eleanor had helped her decipher it. She typed in the credentials. The page transformed. It was not a website, not a forum. It was a digital labyrinth, a series of interconnected rooms, each one a streaming feed. But these weren't ordinary streams. These were the infinite stage. The first feed Sarah clicked on showed Marco, the Brazilian gaming prodigy. He was sitting in a brightly lit, sterile room, wearing the same outfit from his last YouTube video. He was playing a game, his fingers moving with impossible speed and precision, his face utterly blank, a chilling, vacant smile plastered across his lips. The game on screen was a loop of his most famous challenge, replaying endlessly. He didn't blink. He didn't acknowledge the chat that scrolled by, filled with the same repetitive, admiring comments. He was a puppet, performing on an eternal loop. Next, Anya. She was dancing, her movements fluid and graceful, but her eyes were empty, devoid of the spark that had once captivated millions. Her backdrop was a featureless white cube, the same as Marco's. Her dance, a perfect rendition of her most viral routine, played on repeat. And then Sarah saw her, Lily. Her heart seized in her chest, a painful, agonizing throb. Lily was there, in a similar white room, dressed in her favorite pink sparkly outfit from her most famous dance challenge. Her hair was perfectly styled, her makeup flawless. She was mid-pirouette, her body suspended in an exquisite, impossible pose. Her smile was wide, fixed, and utterly terrifying. Her eyes, those beautiful, expressive obsidian eyes, were devoid of light, like polished stones. A chat window scrolled on the side, filled with glowing, worshipping comments. Such grace. Timeless artistry. The perfect performance. "They've frozen them," Sarah whispered, her voice hoarse. "They've captured them in their most perfect moment. They've made them into digital ghosts." Eleanor appeared on Sarah's secondary screen, her face grim. "Not exactly frozen, Sarah. It's a highly advanced form of neurodigital interface. They are physically still there, but their consciousness is projected, amplified, and eternalized within this network. They believe they are performing on the ultimate stage, to the ultimate audience. Their bodies are kept in stasis, perhaps. But their minds are here, trapped in this endless loop of performance." The horror was not in gore, but in the absolute violation of self, the theft of a child's agency, their very soul. Lily was there, yet not there. Her essence had been twisted into an eternal, perfect, empty performance. "We need to find their physical location," Sarah gasped, tears streaming down her face. "We have to bring them back." Eleanor nodded. "That's the next step. I've been tracing the server nodes, the IP addresses. It's heavily shielded, but your connection to the inner stage will help me triangulate." For the next several days, Sarah worked with Eleanor in a feverish, desperate race against time. She maintained her connection to the infinite stage, feigning admiration in the chat, posting cryptic messages that expressed her understanding of the collective's vision. Each interaction, each data packet, was a breadcrumb for Eleanor to follow. The collective, it seemed, was not a single mastermind, but a network of individuals, highly intelligent, deeply disturbed, and utterly convinced of their benevolent mission. They believed they were saving these children from the ephemeral nature of online fame, from the inevitable decline of their popularity, from the harsh realities of the real world. They offered them immortality, a perfect moment captured forever, free from aging, free from criticism, free from the pain of human existence. They were curators of youth, architects of eternal, flawless performance. Eleanor finally pinpointed a location: an abandoned, heavily fortified data center nestled deep within the Catskill Mountains, masquerading as a defunct hydroelectric plant. "It's a fortress, Sarah," Eleanor warned. "They'll have physical security, and their digital defenses are unparalleled." Sarah didn't care. She was going. She called Detective Corbin, relaying Eleanor's findings, her voice shaking but resolute. Corbin, who had been skeptical, was swayed by the sheer detail and chilling consistency of Sarah's story, especially the technical data Eleanor provided. He authorized a raid. The journey to the Catskills was a blur. Sarah rode in silence. The image of Lily's vacant smile burned into her mind. She clutched a small, worn photo of Lily, taken before the TikTok fame, before the bright lights and the endless scrolling. In it, Lily was just a child, giggling as she chased butterflies in their small backyard. The raid was swift and brutal. SWAT teams breached the reinforced doors. A network of armed guards, disturbingly calm and cult-like, offered little resistance. They seemed to view their capture as an inconvenience, a temporary setback in their grand design. Inside, the facility was a maze of humming servers, blinking lights, and sterile white corridors. In the heart of it all, they found them. A large, circular room. In the center, in individual glass-encased pods, suspended in a translucent, nutrient-rich gel, were the children: Marco, Anya, Kenji, and dozens of others. And there, in the very middle, Lily. Her body was unnervingly pristine, preserved, a wax figure of her former self. Tubes snaked into her, maintaining her vital functions. Wires, hair-thin and almost invisible, connected her skull to a massive central server rack, its intricate circuitry glowing with an alien blue light. Her eyes were closed, her face serene, a ghost of that unsettling smile still gracing her lips. A man, pale and gaunt, with eyes that burned with a messianic fervor, was apprehended at a control panel nearby. He introduced himself as the archivist. He spoke calmly, without remorse, of his mission to preserve true artistry, to save the beautiful children from the decay of the mortal coil. He believed he was granting them immortality, protecting them from the very fame they craved, by transforming it into an eternal, perfect loop. "They are happy, you see," he murmured, gesturing to the pods. "They are performing always. No criticism, no aging, no failure, just an endless, perfect moment." Sarah lunged at the glass pod containing Lily, her hands pressed against the cold surface, a primal scream tearing from her throat. "She's not happy! You stole her! You stole her soul!" The archivist merely smiled. "Her soul, madam, is thriving on the infinite stage. Her body is merely a vessel." Medical teams worked frantically to disconnect the children. It was a delicate procedure. Disconnecting them too quickly or incorrectly could cause irreversible damage. Each child was a complex knot of biological and digital connections. Lily was among the first to be carefully removed from her pod. She was alive, but unresponsive. Her body was frail, atrophied from months of stasis. Her eyes remained closed, her breathing shallow. She was rushed to a waiting ambulance, Sarah clinging to her side, tears of relief and utter despair mingling on her face. The recovery process was agonizing. Physically, the children were slowly rehabilitated, but mentally, the damage was profound. Marco, when he finally awoke, would only replay his gaming routines with his fingers, staring blankly ahead. Anya would spontaneously begin her dance routines, her movements mechanical, her eyes unseeing. Lily was the worst. She would sometimes open her eyes, but they held no recognition, no spark. Sometimes she would hum the melodies from her TikTok videos or subtly shift her body into the start of a dance, her face frozen in that same unsettlingly perfect smile from the infinite stage. She was a shell, an echo. The bright, vibrant girl who had once captivated millions was gone, replaced by a ghost of her digital self. Sarah devoted her life to Lily's rehabilitation. She took her to specialists, therapists, healers. She spoke to her constantly, showing her old photos, playing her favorite songs, trying to coax the real Lily back from the digital prison she had been forced into. But it was like trying to catch smoke. The collective was dismantled, its members arrested. The infinite stage was taken down, its servers wiped clean. The world breathed a collective sigh of relief, condemning the horrific acts, vowing to protect children from the dark corners of the internet. New legislation was proposed. Parental controls tightened. But Sarah knew. She knew the internet was a hydra. Cut off one head, and another would grow. The desire for fame, for connection, for validation would always lure the young. And the predators, the manipulators, the curators of human experience would always find new ways to exploit it. Years passed. Lily grew older, her body recovering, but her mind remained fragmented. She never spoke. She rarely reacted. But sometimes late at night, Sarah would hear a faint hum from Lily's room, a high-frequency sound that raised the hairs on her arms. And sometimes, in the periphery of her vision, Sarah would catch a glimpse of Lily, her head tilted, a faint, unseeing smile on her lips, her fingers making a subtle, almost imperceptible gesture, as if performing for an unseen audience. Sarah had saved Lily's body, but her essence, her soul, remained trapped on the infinite stage. The horror wasn't in the violence, but in the emptiness, the permanent absence of the child she had loved, replaced by a perfect, smiling performance that would forever haunt her. The digital ghost of Lily Chen danced on, in the quiet, empty spaces of their home, a chilling reminder that some stages once entered can never truly be left.